the people of the National Weather Service are tremendously dedicated, and the teamwork that I saw on the days leading to the 27th, on the 27th, and on the days following the 27th was unparalleled. And I'm incredibly proud to have worked with this group of people that gave themselves so selflessly. There were people who worked probably 20 days in a row without a day off. There were people who came in off maternity leave to help make sure that we were staffed appropriately.
It was an eye-opening experience to see how many hours the staff spent on storm surveys, and that day, that Wednesday, it was just astounding.
People in the office did things that were outside their normal duties and went way above and beyond what the Weather Service asked of them. And they did that because they care about their jobs and because they care about the people that they serve.
Why we were able to do what we had to do as meteorologists, as warning operators, as communicators, is because we train, we care about what we do, we work hard. You know, we dedicate time away from, you know, just the run of the mill stuff to get better.
The dedication that these folks showed for this event made me incredibly proud to be a federal employee, to work with the people I do.
Not together as a staff, as a unit, you know, it could have turned into one of the biggest disasters internally for the National Weather Service ever.
Supportive and really working together and helping each other out, and it was a very cohesive team. That was important that that happened, because I could see where it could go the other way, where people could come unglued and really, you know, not want to work together. And especially when you're pushed to extremes, you'd want to, you know, beat on each other. So I think people did the opposite. They came together and helped each other out. My car was empty. Well, the gas stations were all, couldn't give out gas. So one of the employees had gotten some gas in a gas can and poured some in my tank so I could get around, you know. So I mean, just stuff like that, you know, that you don't even think about. And people were like, "Are you okay?" You know, I saw some people, you know, they were getting upset, crying, you know, and other people were, you know, consoling them and hugging them, which is not normal for an employment location, you know. So people were very, very, I don't know, very helpful and very cohesive.
I think this event, if there was any positives, was I think it brought us closer together, because I feel like we all now can say we've been through something together.
The other thing too that I don't think people realize is the emotional impact of all the stuff that we do. You know, from the warning forecaster, I mean, they're doing things that are impacting people's lives. They're trying to keep them safe, but at the same time, they can't do anything about it.
The people that are working the radar, what stress they're under, am I seeing what I'm supposed to see? Is the indication I'm seeing, is it really a tornado, and is it as bad as it looks? Am I interpreting it correctly, because so much is at stake?
They can make the siren sound, but they can't stop the tornado from occurring, and that's kind of partly a helpless sort of thing.
You can't keep focused on your work and getting new warnings out and keeping up that level of service if you dwell on how this is actually impacting people's lives. And it's so hard after the fact to think about that I wasn't able to have the reaction that most normal people would of, oh God, what's happening, these poor people. I had to recognize it was happening, give myself a moment, and then get on with the work, or the level of service to everyone else and the people downstream would not be to par.
There's a huge emotional toll with doing storm surveys with the people in the Weather Service, because you got to be in some tense situations and you got to see stuff that, you know, normal people don't see, and it's very hard to do that day after day.
I saw it in each person I went out with that, you know, We weren't out there just to survey damage and to determine an EF rating. That was part of it. But it was also out there to comfort the community. And it was to make sure that people knew that there was others other than their family that cared about them and that wanted to know that there was people that were thinking of them, you know, in their time of need.
Now, post April 27th, we as forecasters we're on edge. We don't know what the response is going to be from the public, the media. You know, there's so many other factors now that everybody is going to be on edge out in the public because of what we've already been through, and trying to deal with that, I guess apply an appropriate response to the questions that were asked is very challenging.
Seeing our products in motion, basically, and being on the receiving end of those products, as opposed to just being the radar operator behind the scenes actually sending out the warning. It does really give me a whole new perspective on, you know, what people are actually going through and, you know, kind of how they receive our warnings, the kind of the actions that they take. And especially, you know, with only having the weather radio that day and not being able to see everything, it has given me a whole new appreciation of kind of the public perception of kind of what we do. And I hope to hopefully kind of mirror my actions from now forward as to how can I best write this warning so that someone in a closet with only a weather radio gets exactly what they need to get from this warning.
You can't help but have an enhanced commitment because you just see how it impacts the people. And it makes you try just a little bit harder each time you do something because you don't know what a difference that might make. It gives me a real responsibility or feeling responsibility for our job, how critical our job is, and the accountability we have to the people in our CWA.
Like I said, it does make you take the job even more seriously because all we do is report the weather, and then we hope that folks on the other end take the appropriate action.
I always tell people in the public that, you know, this whole mindset of, you know, it's not going to happen to me, it only happens to other people. We hear that a lot. You know, I don't need to know that, or I don't need to take cover. You know, that's going to affect other people. You know, I think this event drives home that reality that it can happen anywhere. Because yes, there was areas that were affected more than others on April 27th, but we had 62 tornadoes statewide, 39 in our area. So if you look at the map, everyone knows someone that was affected.
I love what we do, of how we work with our partners and serving the public and the importance of what we do. I've seen the impact going out on storm surveys and seeing people whose lives have been destroyed, but maybe they got your warning, or, you know, maybe they had been to a spotter class and so they knew what they were seeing and were prepared. Those are the times when it's like, okay, you know, it helps you remember why we're here and why we do what we do. But at the same time, seeing the level of devastation and going through that long of a day of severe weather makes you never want to see it again.
It was literally every ingredient came together for this event to make it, historic's not even really the word. It was completely incredible with everything that came perfectly together to make these 3 separate waves of severe storms for the area. Normally, you know, we get a couple of tornadic storms here and there. We still get a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but I've never in my life, and hopefully never will I, experience this widespread of damage in an area. It was incredible. It's just probably the best word I can go with.
The whole event was, I mean, even when I replay it in my mind, in some respects it feels like it's just yesterday, but in other respects it feels like it's just sort of surreal, and it was almost like an out-of-body experience. It's kind of hard to explain, but you know, it's just kind of an odd feeling.
Well, it was the high point and the low point at the same time. It was the most active, challenging, professionally rewarding, but on the other hand, it was the most devastating. It was the most emotionally challenging, draining event I'd ever been through. I went through 89, the November 15th of 1989 tornado that hit downtown Airport Road. I went on the storm surveys the next day. That was devastating. But the sheer magnitude and the area of this event, there's no way to rate it. It's just simply off the scale.
We may not see one this year, we may not see one the next year, but certainly there's going to be similar setups that we see again. There may never be another April 27th, but there could be another Veterans Day outbreak. There could be another Palm Sunday outbreak. Those are going to be significant events that we're, with the current state of our science, we're probably going to be able to do a fair job of predicting them, more than just 2 hours in advance.
We earn our money when, there's significant weather events going on, and that's why we're here.
Those are the things that I hope that people take away, that they understand that it's more than just a paycheck for the people that work in this office. We're not just an 8 to 4 agency. We're 24/7, 365. And there's not a person here that doesn't value their relationship, doesn't value their job, doesn't value what they do for the community.